for joining me, as well as the organization for class today. I want to remind you to always consult with your physician prior to changing your exercise regimen or engaging in a new exercise regimen. When taking this class, feel free to play music in the background to keep you motivated and inspired as we go throughout the workout. Please remove any trip hazards or anything that can cause you to stumble or fall as we will be moving about the room. Make sure you're wearing good, comfortable shoes that fit your feet well and that will be a good support to you, as well as good, flexible pants, shorts, or bottoms of any kind, as long as they're comfortable to you, along with a breathable, controlling top. When you're taking this class, you're going to need to take sips of water as we will be getting hot and we're going to exert energy as well as sweat a bit. So you want to replenish the fluids that we're going to be losing. When we progress throughout the day or throughout this workout today, I want you to know that we'll be doing both a workout, but I'll also be showing you some things to help you with fall prevention. Now, no matter the age that you are, do know that falling is a part of life, and just because you become of a certain age doesn't mean that you won't fall ever again. So do know that there are some things that can help you to prevent falling and hurting yourself in a very traumatic and severe way. But before I go into that, I want to also remind you to please visit us on our social media outlets, to include our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook page. UMBC Rec is what you'll be looking for. So to get us started in our workout, we're going to start with our warm-up. We're going to start with marches. So in 4 seconds, we're going to march in 3, 2, and 1. So march it out. Move your arms, bending your arms at the elbows. Keep your hands loose, and it's just a little lift off the floor as usual. Just to get the blood moving from our feet all the way up to our body. Getting our body nice and warm as we prepare for our workout. Now, you probably won't need anything for this workout today because you're going to do the workout as you see fit for your body. But I will remind you sometimes that you can add a weight. So for today, you'll see that I have really no equipment with me. I do have my bench beside me in the event that I choose to use it, but also, again, you don't have to have it. All right, we're going to keep marching for another 10 seconds, and then we're going to go right into our lunges. In 3, 2, and 1, so lunge it forward. So big step forward. You can always place your hands on your hips or have your arms up high. Remember to come to at least a 90 degree angle. If you choose to start off in a higher lunge, that is quite all right. Not only does the lunge help us get warmed up, but it also helps us to stretch our muscles, ligaments, tendons, everything around the knee joints, ankle joints, as well as the hip joints. Don't leave your breathing out. Don't hold your breath. Take your time. You do not have to speed up this warm-up. It is a warm-up. You're warming up to where you need to be ready to do the workout. 10 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now let's jack it out. Breathing. Keep going. Oh, remember your options. Okay? Out to the side. Over and across the body. Over the head. Crossing the plane of the body. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Arm circles. Forward, alternating backward as well. Switch directions. Forward and backwards. Good. Ten more seconds. Catch your breath. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very nice job. Now let's do a few stretches. So bring that right arm overhead, bend at the elbow, grab at the elbow, and just stretch the arm. And let's switch. Place that hand flat on your back, fingers spread wide. And let's bring our arms down to the side and let's bring them behind our back. We're going to stretch out the front of the shoulders. So you interlock the fingers, pull the arms down, push your chest forward, and you'll feel a stretch through the front side of both shoulders. Keep your belly button pulled in. And release. Very nice. Okay, I'm going to show you something a little bit different. We're going to stretch the back of our legs, really concentrating on the calves. So you're going to take your right leg, you're going to put the heel down with your toes up. Now, you should already feel a stretch in the back of the calf. Now, what you're going to do from this point on is you're going to bend the right leg at the knee. You're going to hinge, sticking your glutes back. And you're going to feel a stretch come up to the back of your leg, back of your thigh. Now, the farther down you go, the deeper the stretch will become. If you're able to reach down and grab your toes without major discomfort, that is a plus. And it can only be helpful to you as you stretch the back of the legs. However, if this feels completely uncomfortable to you and unbearable, only stay to a point where you feel minor discomfort, meaning you feel the stretching of the muscles in the back of the leg, but you don't feel a strong stinging, tingling, or burning sensation to the point where you must stop. And let's come on up, lifting your chest first and switching the legs out. So belly button is pulled in, left leg is going to go forward now, heel down, toes are up. Hinging at the waist. If you need to remember what that is, put your 2 fingers on the front of your pelvis. Push your pelvis back. Farther down you go, you'll feel the stretch first behind the calf, then up the back of the leg. And breathe. Good. Now that's a great stretch too for the lower back. You may also feel the farther down you go, the more your lower back releases and relaxes, okay? All right, and then we want to do our hip hinge. So we're going to run our fingers down the front of the thighs. Inhale and roll up. Now we're going to reach up to our tippy toes. Then we lower our heels down, arms come down, hinge at the hip. Inhale and exhale, come on up. Good, and let's do that again. And hinge at the hip. Roll up. And reach up. And lower the heels down. Very nice. All right, we're going to start from the top. Okay, that's a motion you may see in dance. They tap the top of their head to show we're going from the top. All right, starting off with the motion, with the marches. All right, here we go. In through 10 seconds. Get your body ready. And then we're going to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. March it out. Now, this is the round where if you feel like you want to lift your knees up, to a halftime march, higher march, feel free to do so. Or you want to alternate, then you can. It's totally up to you. It's your warm-up. Just get warm. Good. Keep going. 20 seconds to go. Remember, each warm-up exercise is at least a minute. Stretches are about 15 seconds at least. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lunge it out. Inhale, exhale. Seconds. Keep your balance. If you feel wobbly, slow it down. "15 seconds to go. You can do it. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, jumping jacks come next, okay? Remember your margins. Let's go. Over. You want to do the regressed. And catch your breath. That's totally all right. You do full on jack. Seconds. Ten seconds. Three, 2, 1. Arms out. Arms circle forward and backwards. You can vary the sizes of your circles. So you can have small circles, medium circles, large circles, extra large circles, okay? Just don't forget to alternate. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, that calf stretch. So, heel down, toes up, hinge at the hip, run your hand down, stick your glutes back. The more you stick your glutes back, the more of a stretch you will feel. Now, a bonus is, if you want to feel an even deeper stretch in your calf, put your toes down, and then you'll feel that stretch happen first behind your calf, right at your calf, and then right above your knee, right about here in the back of the leg. And let's switch legs. So, heel down, toes up, glutes are back. Now you can push those toes down. Now do not press on your knees. My hands are above my knees and on my thighs. nice. And come on up. All right, let's do those arm stretches. So bring your arms up and behind your head. Good. Pull on that elbow. And let's switch. Breathe, breathe. And bring both arms behind you. Push the chest out. Very nice. All right. And release. And let's do our hinges and then with our reach. So hinge at the hips. Fingertips touch the toes. Roll on up. Reach up. Heels come down. Hinge at the waist. Roll up. And again. One more time. And hinge. All right, grab some water and grab a mat. Okay, if you have your mat and you're ready, we're going to talk a little bit about fall prevention today. Fall prevention is, again, simply has no respect of age. You may hear it referred mostly to seniors, but again, it has no respect of age. Anyone can easily miss their step or overlook an object in their way and trip over it. As a result, people sometimes have broken bones, get really bruised up. Definitely they may crack, fracture, or sprain something. But even though trips will happen, hazards will happen, and you may get hurt, it doesn't mean that you can't do things to, one, prevent, two, help you recover. And what I mean by recover, you don't necessarily have to trip and fall. Sometimes you could trip and not fall, and I'll share that with you. And then sometimes you can trip, fall, and hurt yourself, but getting up is part of it. Okay, you need to be able to get up if you have fallen, and after you get up, you may require some first aid, and then you require healing. So I just want to go over a little bit of that as well. All right, so fall prevention. First off, you want to make sure that you're always looking where you're going. I know that goes without saying, but sometimes we can be a little bit distracted on our phones, talking to a friend, looking around us, and not really looking directly in front of us. So always look where you're going. The second thing is make sure that you're wearing the proper shoes. So often, some of the trip hazards can be prevented by wearing the proper gear. So if you're wearing tennis shoes, make sure your laces are tied. If there are no tie laces, make sure the strap is drawn tightly and tucked tightly so that they don't come loose so easily. If you're wearing heels or if you're wearing sandals, make sure that your feet are dry inside the sandals. Sometimes they get sweaty. So be sure that your feet are dry inside the sandals. Also, if you're wearing high heels, make sure that you're walking on good, stable surfaces because high heels and cobblestone are not friends. So that's just an example, but just be mindful of your surfaces upon which you're walking. Again, about surfaces, be aware of your surroundings. Sometimes we walk into buildings and we miss the floor is wet sign or the caution sign. So be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of the flooring. Also, sometimes glossy floors are hard to walk on if you have non-rubberized shoes. So be aware of that as well. And mats. Mats can be a trip hazard as well. You think they're grounded or sealed to the ground, meaning they have little skid resistant material on the bottom and they won't slide from underneath you, but sometimes they do. So just be mindful of that as well. So some things that you can do are, first of all, work on your balance, okay? Balance is a great fall prevention mechanism that you can work on. So this hip hinge, you can do it with me. This hip hinge that we do, and we roll on up and we come up to our tippy toes and we hold it for a few seconds. That's a great balance exercise. Our bird dog is also a great exercise. So if you want to roll your mat out and do it with me, and come down to all fours, hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, okay? When doing this exercise, you want to make sure, again, you're on a nice, firm, flat surface, and you want to do it as often as you can because it's a very gentle exercise to do on a daily basis. But what we're going to do is we're going to lift the right arm and extend the left leg. And you're going to hold. And you're going to make sure, even while you're holding here, that you're not opening up your chest or your hip out to the side, but you're looking straight down in front of you. You have your palm flat on the mat, your fingers spread wide, as well as your fingers spread wide of the arm that's extended. Your toe is going to be pointed of the leg that's extended. And you're going to try to stay in that all-four position. So you're not going to shift your weight forward or backward, but you're going to stay neutral. Let's do the other side. When you're setting up, knees should be underneath your hips. So now my left arm, I'm going to raise it along with my right leg. My leg is not going to come higher than my hip because I'm not doing a glute exercise. I'm simply doing a balance exercise. And I'm going to make sure my hips stay neutral and square. So when we say neutral and square, that again means your belly button is parallel to the mat. And if your belly button is parallel to the mat, that's typically a decent indication that your hips are square. And you want your hips to be square because that tells you or tells your body that every joint is supported by the muscle around it when your hips are square. And just breathe. Hold and breathe. This also helps with your core. So believe it or not, a good firm core, and bring it down, is a great way to help with fall prevention as well, okay? So when we do exercises like the bird dog, we're also helping to strengthen our core. A flat tummy doesn't always mean a strong core. And a round tummy doesn't always mean a weak core. It's just the core on the inside can be whatever you strengthen it to be, okay? All right, so let's do that again. Hands flat on the mat. We're going to extend the right arm first, and then the left leg. All right, here we go. Extending and holding. How long should you hold? Try for 15 seconds first. And as you continue to do it, try to hold it longer and longer. Now, if you want to make it into an exercise, I'm going to show you how to do that next. And let's switch. Good. Just reminding you to breathe. Don't hold your breath. Keep your spine nice and neutral by looking down at the ground. Don't take your chin to your chest to look back at your knees. And bring it down. Okay, let's say you wanted to make it into an exercise and put it into your workout. You can do the same stretch, same balance exercise as we just did, bird dog, or bird cat. But you can also, while you're extending, you can make it a repetitive move. Bring your elbow in, bring your knee up, extend, and pull it in and extend. Try it with me. In and out. In and out. You want to do about 10 each side. So we got 3 more here. And 2. And 1. Very good. Now lower that arm down. And other arm and leg. First extend. Now pull it in and push it out. In and out. Three more. In and out. Last one. Good. All right. Bring your knee down, hands down, and you can come up off your knees a little bit. So, also in fall prevention, first of all, if you trip, and you start to find yourself falling, sometimes it is best to simply run into the fall, okay? So what I mean by that is, if I have, let's say my mat in front of me, it's a trip hazard, and I found myself clipping my toe on the mat, my knee is already in a running position, bent in a running position. So as opposed to taking my chest forward and simply falling into the tripping mechanism or falling into the fall, I can simply push off my toe and attempt to run forward, okay? So let's try that again. So what I'm saying to you is, if you find yourself tripping over a specific object, okay, or a step, and your knee is already in a bent knee running position, it may be best to simply push off and run, okay, to catch yourself from falling or to prevent yourself from falling. If you find that you trip up on the steps, it might be best, if you're tripping up on the step, you're already in the lunge position, so go ahead and lunge down into it, okay? Same thing on either side. If you find that you're clipping your toe, okay, your toe is already down on the ground, you're already in a running stance, so you might as well get yourself ready to run, push off and run. And then if you're tripping onto a step or a curb or something a little bit higher than a mat, your foot is already up, getting ready to step up for the next step, but maybe you missed it, go ahead and lunge down into it, okay? That's why we do our lunges. Now, when you get ready to lunge into the move or lunge into the trip to prevent the fall, please try not to get your knee to hit the ground. Because when that happens, you'll find that, first of all, it just plain hurts, all right? Especially with the impact, how fast you're coming down or how hard the surface is. So when you do find yourself, you're tripping, and you want to do that lunge position, try to just have your knee hover, okay? And then gently place your knee on the ground, recover from the fact that you almost fell, but you didn't. Take a breather, and when you're ready, you're going to use the knee that is stable, the one where the foot is flat on the floor, the ground, the mat, whatever the case may be, and then you're simply going to try to pick yourself up. Now, that's where we come into, what if you do fall? If you do fall and you end up down on one knee, okay, then there are a couple of ways to get up, but really and truly, it's the most comfortable way for you. Now, for me, it's comfortable for me to tuck my back toes, okay, tuck them down to the ground. I'll show you this way, tuck, so my knees are tucked, and to place my hands on the meaty part of my thigh, but not on my knee, and simply push up to a high lunge, and then step forward, okay? That's an easy way for me, but for others it is not. So, can we try that together? What we're going to do is, we are going to get down on one knee, with our back leg tucked. So my toes are tucked. My one leg is forward, okay? I have, for example, I missed my step, and I found myself taking that lunge position, and then I gently laid my back leg bent at the knee down wherever I was. So now I'm here in what I call the proposal pose, or a 90-90 lunge pose, okay? Or a bended knee pose, however you want to refer to it. But now I'm ready to get up. So I'm going to place both my hands on the leg that is stable, the one where the foot is flat on the ground. I'm going to inhale and exhale. Come on up and then step forward. Okay? Now, you notice I said inhale and exhale. So let's try it. Inhale, exhale. Okay? Put your hand on your belly. Inhale, exhale. Again, inhale, exhale. Okay. If you found that when you inhaled, your belly came in, but when you exhaled, your belly poked out, I want to encourage you to reverse that. Because when you are in need of energy, or if you're in need of a force to propel you forward, it is best when you are doing so on an exhale, okay? And an exhale usually sucks the air out of your abdomen, blows it out, which then tightens the muscles in your abdominals, your upper, your middle, and your lower abs. They contract, and when they contract, they kind of act like, think of it as a little bit of a harness or like an anchor. They pull on these hip muscles. The hip muscles pull on the knee muscles. The knee muscles pull on the ankles, and the feet prepare, okay? Everything kind of comes together, right? And when they're able to come together, then you're able to use this center of energy to pull you in whatever direction or to help you to get to where you're going or to help you do what you need to do, okay? So when I came up, I'm going to come down on my knee again. You do it too. What I did was, again, pretending that you tripped and you were just recovering over the fact that, okay, I tripped and I almost fell, but I didn't, right? So I'm now in my lunge position. I've had my breath. I've recovered. I'm calm. I'm now going to inhale, belly's poked out. Exhale, pushing on my thigh. And when I exhale, everything in my core and my hips contracted, my legs got ready, and then I lift up and I'm pull forward, okay? So practice that. Practice running into it. Practice lunging into it being the fall, and practice breathing into it, okay? All right, the other thing I want to remind you of or to show you as a part of fall prevention is the fact that should you miss the opportunity to run into the fall or lunge into the fall, you then have the opportunity to roll into it. So you might be saying, well, what do you mean by that, Paula? Well, I think as we become older, we forget that as kids, we spend a lot of times on our back with our feet up, right? And we call that like a rolling like a ball position. Sometimes we're in that position when we do crunches or ab work. But know that that is also a pretty decent position to be in when you fall. With that being said, in no way, shape, or form am I saying to just do a trust fall into the ground should you fall. What I am saying is, though, some of the meatiest part of your body is in your glutes, okay? So some of us carry, all of us carry meat in our glutes, all right? And with that being said, it is probably the most cushioniest part of our body, okay? So if you find that you may be tripping backwards, okay? Say, for example, you got bumped by someone and now you find yourself falling backward. Well, one thing to remember, okay, is trust fall. Now, and I'm not saying someone's always going to be back there to catch you, but someone may be there to catch you. However, if they are not, you want to do your best not to, one, fall into anything sharp or dangerous to make the fall worse, but two, try to get as low to the ground as possible and fall on your bum, okay? So let me show you that again, and I want you to try it with me, okay? Someone has bumped into me. I find myself falling forward. What we typically tend to do is we put our hands down and we forget all about bending the hips, sticking our glutes back like a lunge position. Because what? We unexpectedly were pushed and we didn't know we were going to fall, okay? One option to do is if that happens to you, you find that force coming to you, I have found it helpful. The power is already coming from the other person to push me backward. I try to roll back on my heels, squat down as low as I can, and fall onto my bottom, okay? When I fall onto my bottom, my glutes absorb the impact, and then at that point in time, all I'm doing is protecting the back of my head by tucking and rolling backwards. My legs come up, and that's totally fine, okay? So let's try it together. Let's try to roll backwards, knees come up, roll backward, keep your head off the mat. Keep your chin tucked, all right? All right, let's get up and let's try it one more time. Now, if you did not try with me because you're saying, I'm too scared, okay? Know that practice makes better, okay? Preparation helps. And if you don't practice now, then your body won't be prepared for what may happen. So know that, again, falls happen to everyone, and all that you can do is help your body to help prevent it. And if you should happen to fall, lessen as much of the damage as possible, okay? So let's come to standing. All right? Someone has caused you to fall backwards. I am not going to put my hands down to try to catch myself, because that's an easy way to break your wrist, to really cause some bone damage, okay? These are rigid parts of the body, okay? They are not meant to absorb much of an impact. But what you can do, again, use the cushiony part of your bottom, get low to the ground, roll back on your heels, get your legs up, and roll forward. Now, while we're here, why don't we just roll a couple of times, okay? Practice that. So, legs up, and just roll without your arms touching the mat. Tuck your chin, keep your head off the mat, let your legs come up, okay? Inhale, roll back, exhale, roll up, okay? If you're doing this just right, you'll feel your core start to burn just a little bit, showing you or telling you that it's engaged, okay? Again, roll back, roll up, okay? Breathing mechanism is inhale, roll back, exhale, roll up, okay? Again, roll back, roll up. Wonderful. All right, so we talked about the fact that you may trip going forward. We're going to run into it. We're going to lunge into it, okay? We talked about how breathing helps us to recover and to come up. We talked about whether we are pushed backwards, okay, and how to help with that as well. We also talked about how to not cause impact to happen between the joints or the rigid parts of our body, okay, so our bones. So our knees, we don't want our knees being smashed into the ground or into the surface, or our elbows, or things like our hands, because they will damage our wrists based on the impact. But we want to try to use the meaty part of our structure, such as our glutes. All right, so the other thing we want to talk about is I want to introduce to you again burpees, all right? So burpees are very helpful because they also help with fall prevention, believe it or not. And when we do a burpee, the ability for us to come up off of the ground is very helpful. So typically in a burpee, we start standing, we hinge, we jump our feet out, we jump our feet in, and then we jump up, okay? The parts that'll help are the jumping in and simply standing up. Okay, so when you think of a burpee, we start standing, okay? We oftentimes then hinge at the waist, hands come down, we jump out, then we jump in, and then we stand up, all right? But here, the squat position is no different than a position that you can use should you end up on the ground during your fall, okay? So you end up on your ground during your fall. This part of a burpee can also help you to come up off of the ground. Now, if you're agile, you're generally going to stand up or you're going to jump up, okay? If you feel a little bit more rigid, you'll find yourself staying down here for a second and even end up in what is to be the crawling stance. So when I first introduced burpees to you, we mainly did it as a Murphy. A Murphy looked more like this. We hinged, okay? We walked the hands out with our knees bent, and we simply walked our feet out, or we walked our feet in, and then we rolled backwards and we came up. That whole part of that Murphy or burpee is very helpful during fall prevention, okay? You being on the ground is no different than you falling onto the ground, okay? And when you fall onto the ground, you have to find your way or find a way to get on up. Sometimes that answer may just be crawling, okay? Do not forget that crawling can be very helpful to you. Now, when you crawl, do know crawling forward and crawling backward is a great way to exercise the muscles in your lower part of your body. Oftentimes, when we're a baby, we love crawling because that was the only way for us to get around. Then we learn how to walk, and crawling goes out the door. But do know, crawling can still be helpful to you in your body, especially during fall prevention. So again, you find yourself bending down to pick something up, and you end up falling onto the ground just like so, in what probably is an all-fours position, okay? In doing so, you want to get back up. Well, maybe you ended up falling underneath a part of the counter or just somewhere where you're not able to stand right up. So you want to crawl to a place of safety, of course. And what you can do is, again, lift one leg up with both hands on the mat. And bring both hands to that leg. And just like we practiced before, we want to inhale with the toes tucked in the back. Exhale and come on up and step either forward or backwards so we're in a standing position. Okay? Another option from this position that could prove helpful to you is if you find you're close to a stable, sturdy surface, okay? You have one hand on your floor or your surface and one hand on the wall or another stable surface, and that helps you to kick your leg forward, okay? And then once you're there, you can hold your chest up or bring your chest up, okay? And you can also put your hands on the wall and bring your knee forward, although I find that that's not as comfortable as it sounds. But you can tuck your toes, walk your hands up the wall, and come on up. It does take a little bit more of hip action. It gives you a rotation as well, but it's also a help, okay? All right, so if you haven't been doing it with me, you should be. Let's try it again, all right? So let's come down onto one knee, both knees actually. Hands are down. We're first going to crawl, so let's crawl. Good. Now we're going to come on up. Place one hand on the mat, one hand on the stable surface. Kick one leg forward. Other hand comes up because your chest is up. You have a little twist. Toes are tucked. Push yourself up. Walk your hands up on the wall. And then you come to standing. Okay? One last time. Put the opposite knee down. So this time, last time my left leg was down. This time my right knee is going to be down. My hand is down on the mat. My one hand is on the wall. And my toes are tucked in my back leg. Coming on up first, chest is up, hand on the wall, tucking my toes, pushing up to a high lunge, things we practiced, and walking my hands up the wall and coming to a standing position. Okay? All right. Finally, hand exercises. Hand exercises such as wrist flexion, rotation, and extension all help, okay? So when you're doing hand exercises of any kind, however you want to do it, I'm going to show you some examples today. When you're doing them, again, nice, gentle pulls. Please don't pull in a very rough way, but be gentle with your body because these are some small muscles that you're working with and smaller bones. You don't want to fracture anything. So with that being said, push your hands out like in a stop sign. This is one motion you can do. Fingers spread wide. This motion helps you to strengthen your arms and your hands. Then you want to turn your hands down as if you're trying to show someone your nicely manicured nails, or you're trying to show them a nice new piece of jewelry that you got. Another option would be you can hold your arms up again as you're saying stop, your hand up, and pull back on your fingers, exposing your palm, keeping your thumb out to the side. And then you can do the same motion and give it a little pressure to the back of the hand. Now you want to hold each position for equal amounts of time so that both parts of your body are getting the same attention, same amount of attention. And then bend down. Good. All right, arms come down. Now you want to roll your shoulders back. That's another great way to strengthen the arms and the muscles in the arms. And you want to roll your shoulders forward. And arms come out to the side, okay? Stretching through your fingertips. is another great arm exercise. So right now we just exercised our fingers, our wrists, okay, our forearm, as well as our upper part of the arm and some parts of our shoulder, front of the shoulders, okay? All right, now bring your arms forward, interlock the fingers, and round the back, stretching behind the shoulders. So at this point in time, you're also stretching the muscles in your hands, your wrist, and your forearm, but you're also getting an upper back stretch. And we're also transitioning into our cool down. Good. Arms come up. And let's bend at the elbow, hand on the back, upper part of the back. And hold. A little pull on the elbow, not much. Now, what we talked about today, just a quick recap, we talked about fall prevention being no respect of age or person. Anyone can fall at any point in time. You simply want to build your body up, just like you would prepare it for anything else. Build your body up to be prepared for a fall in case it happens. Switch the arms out. We talked about how if you trip over something that's flat and close to the ground, that you can simply come into a running stance and run past or through the fall. We talked about if you trip on something that's a little bit higher, like a step or a curb, you can simply come to a lunge position, making sure not to slam your knee into the ground, but gently lower down to the ground and absorb some of that impact that may come through the knee. We talked about how to get up from that lunge position. Go ahead and bring your arms down and round behind your back. Chest comes forward, chin is up. We also talked about how we're going to use the cushiony or the most cushionist part of our body to help us if we should fall backwards and end up rolling, okay? So rolling like a ball or coming into a roll should we be pushed backward. Making sure our feet come up and the back of the head does not touch the floor or the ground or the surface, whatever surface it may be, to prevent any head injuries there. Good. All right. Now let's come on down to one knee as we practice another mechanism or another way for us to come on up. We practice that as well. But here we're going to stretch to place both hands on the inside of the front knee. Take the outside arm, swing it up, and look up. We talked about how we could use a nice stable surface like a wall. Place our hand on the wall to help us come on up. We practice coming up on both sides with our hands on the wall. Good, let's switch the arms out. We also talked about how we could practice getting better with our balance by doing bird dogs or and then holding those exercises. Swing the arm up and look up. Holding that position when we do our bird dog, and then turning it into a core exercise to strengthen our core, because when we inhale and inflate the core, make the core or the stomach bigger, when we exhale and tighten the core, it helps us to pull on the other muscles that'll help us to prepare for the move that we're going to do, the exercise or getting up, whatever we're going to do. And bring that arm down. Very nice. All right. Now, I want you to place your hands on the mat. Toes are going to be untucked. Knees are going to be down. We're going to inhale. And we're going to exhale and round back. And inhale, come back to flat back. We're doing a cat stretch. Inhale and exhale. And again, inhale, now leave it big. Exhale, take the air out, make it flat, and round back. Very nice. All right, let's come to center. Let's tell our body we are done. We did a great job. Let's bring, however you want to sit, crisscross applesauce or down on your knees like me, or sitting on your heels. Whatever position is most comfortable to you. You can also stand. Go ahead and inhale and bring your arms up above your head. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Great job today. Practice the things we talked about and prepare yourself in the event that you should have a fall. It's not a bad thing to do. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.